philanthropist, a realtor, podcaster, and author. We're going to put all sorts of titles into that.
I know.
And what's neat about Tina and the things that have drawn me to her and felt that it was so important that she shares some of her story with us is how she helps people transform their lives through one-on-one coaching, seminars, public appearances, and her podcast listeners. She's passionate about inspiring others and changing their lives. She believes women can cultivate beauty, power, purpose, and happiness. And men, as if you are kind of saying, well, that's not right for me, she looks at the soul of a gentleman also, and also says this is how men can grow and be better people also and
Coming
reach
next.
their dreams.
It's
yes.
my next book, yeah.
And I stole part of one of your favorite quotes, and I'm going to start with this because I think it's great. We are all a work in progress, but knowing this helps us to hold the gift of grace in our hearts for ourselves and others. And I think that exemplifies a lot about who you are and what you do. So welcome, Tina.
Thank you so much. And hi, everyone out there. That quote, it gives me the goosebumps because so many people in life will judge you by what they have heard or known of you. And it's like, okay, well, she was married to this professional athlete. She's had it easy. No, life has really been hard for me. And it's been difficult. And I've had to really hold that quote came from so much that I've had to learn in life. My life has not been easy. I've had a lot of adversity and hardship, as I think everybody has. And I think that's part of holding the gift of grace, is allowing yourself the permission to be human and still be loved. And I think so often we forget that. We feel like darn, I shouldn't have made that mistake. And you just crucify yourself for something that truly is it's just a step in life. And you have to keep it and make it that in your mindset and in your heart, because otherwise your heart gets hardened even toward yourself, not just toward your work or not just toward your husband, your wife, your coworkers, whatever it may be. You've got to keep it all soft. And the more you keep that soft, the more your mind is open to growth and to expansion, and you keep a higher level thinking going in your life. And I think without grace, we turn cold, and it makes us become very, it can make you sad without it, It's difficult to hold that sometimes too, the grace.
And that self-doubt, that sadness, that pain that we carry makes it so much tougher for people to follow their dreams, follow and find that passion. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what brought you to here today as a podcaster and author? How'd you find this road?
It's really interesting, and I will, I speak a little bit. My book does not talk about my life really at all. But when I was 24, I was 24, and I was pregnant with my now 24-year-old. And my ex-husband at the time, we were married, and we were with the Miami Heat. And we went to dinner after a game with one of the players from the other team, because they were staying the night. The other team was staying the night, and they were leaving the next day. They were on a road trip. And we were at dinner, and one of the players from the other team walked in with a woman on his arm. And that woman was so proud to be with this man. And this man was a married man with 3 kids. And my ex-husband's name was Dan. And I think I scared him because he was sitting across from me, and I was sitting next to his buddy, Bobby, who I'm still good friends with, Bobby Sura, who played in the NBA for a long time. And I must have turned white as a ghost, and here I'm 7 months pregnant, and I just was in total shock, because you hear a lot of things in life. I don't speak about things I hear. If you see things and there's a conversation that needs to be had, that's a whole different story. And it really made me sad. I said, you guys have this brotherhood, and you should. It's okay. It's good you have a brotherhood. You do what you got to do in your brotherhood. But women need a better sisterhood. We are lacking. For that woman to find such joy in such a shallow place in her life, just because this guy's famous and he's got money, there's a disconnect. Right. And I want to reconnect. But meanwhile, I'm crying the whole way home because I felt so bad for this woman. And she was a woman that we were with in Cleveland for a year. And I honestly never really even connected with her as another woman, but my heart sank just to know the pain that would cause if she knew about it. And I said, I'm going to write a book one day. And Dan had said, well, wait till the kids are older. So I said, no, I'll wait. Yeah. By the way, I don't even know how to write a book right now, so let's just hold off. But I do know I want to write a book, and it's going to be called Soul of a Woman. Well, actually back then I said Soul Sister. And I said, because of the sisterhood that we need this bond. And then I realized over the years, as God just kept laying it on my heart, and I kept myself mindful about this book throughout the years, knowing that one day this will happen. The time isn't right. My husband and my children are my priority. His priority was to provide for us, and mine was to provide a good home for us. And so then as I started taking lessons in writing, because I realized when the time came that I really wasn't a good writer, because I tried writing the book and it was really awful. So I started taking some lessons, and I realized soul of a woman, because if I could just define the soul of a woman into 3 sections and 14 chapters, which is my book. And, you section it out with the self, which is the first section of my book. And it's sort of the inner warfare between God and the ego, and who we are as ourself on this planet, connected to something higher, and how we become a warrior for others and live out our purpose. And then secondly, relationships, which are great, but they can also mess you up. So then the third section, you get back to the mind, body, beautiful section. And that's where, I implement some positive psychology methodologies and things like that. And that's really how it started, you guys. And it was so hard for me to even really get the book going, because I had such fear that I would be judged. Like, who is she to write this book? Really, who is she? She's a mother of 4, and, she was married to this guy, whoopee-doo. And so I really had that fear. And finally I thought, you know what? No, this is what I know has been burning inside of me for so long. I don't care who wants to judge me negatively for it. I'm trying to put out better in the world and good in the world. And I've done my homework. I've went back and I've studied a lot about positive psychology. And I really made it become part of my life through a lot of trials that I've had and a lot of mistakes I've even made. And I put the book together. And then what happened was the podcast. I think you heard the podcast with my daughter, Madison. She and I, well, I'm really close to all of my kids, but she was a biopsychology, actually psychobiology, which I hate that. I like biopsychology better. She was a biopsych major at Santa Clara, and she'll call me a lot for advice. And one day when I really helped her sort of do her goal setting, I think you remember this podcast, she said, Mom, you should have a podcast. I don't know why you aren't out doing this, because I quit doing one-on-one. And I started doing more women's conferences and small retreats, which I still am doing. And I'm building one of my own that's going to be great. But the podcast was kind of just to start really getting the conversations going and really implement communication.
And I don't want to say we should end after 2 minutes, but I mean, you hit the 3 Ps in your one answer. I mean, you had a passion, this soul sister, the soul of a woman. You planned, you went to school, you said, what do I need to do to get ready for this? And the persistence you showed in saying, hey, screw those, and then pardon me, but
like this teacher.
those that are going to look at you funny, say, we don't need to hear from someone that's lived the life you've lived. You said, how do I fight through that? How do I get beyond it? And we're going to go into details about all this stuff, but I just think that it just shows that when you have that passion, you may not think about it. You may not really say, okay, now I'm into planning, now I'm dealing with but we all go through that, and we say, how do I take that passion and end up with something at the end that I'm proud of, that reflects what I want to be and what I want to do? And you did that.
I bet you have joy, right? Now, after you wrote the book, right? Looking back, and it was a long journey, I'm sure,
yes.
Going to take classes to learn how to write a book, right?
Yeah.
So that takes dedication, extreme dedication and persistence. But I do want to go back to your original purpose, which is so wonderful. You came from the place of helping others.
Yes.
Yes.
I just felt it was laid on my heart to do that.
So I do want to stress how important it is for all entrepreneurs out there. You have an idea, and maybe it's about you, but once you turn the tables around and you're thinking about outwards and how you can help others, right?
Yes.
It doesn't become much about you anymore. It becomes, how do you help others? And when you do that, guess what happens to the judgment? You don't see it anymore. It's gone. It's gone because it's not about you anymore, because you become a messenger, right?
Yeah.
You become a messenger in helping others, which is an entrepreneurship endeavor if you are able to help others, right? And have fun in the process, right? And make money. Well, to me, that's the recipe to life success.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The secret
that,
sauce,
right?
I call it. Absolutely. I think it is, and you're so right. But the thing about helping others, and I love that you implement that verbally, because that does take away from your fears, because then you realize, no, wait a minute. I do want to help. I want to help this person. I know I can do this for this. You feel like you can't fail. You just won't let yourself fail, because there's others counting on you. And that's why I think starting a business and entrepreneurship is so incredibly, I think it's such a beautiful thing. And when I was in college, I didn't study it. I wish I did. I've got my daughter, I was telling you, she's a business major. I said, just go into business, study entrepreneurship, because you will learn life skills that will take you, your family, your friendships, everything. And I feel like that mindset is, I swear that's the golden mindset to have. And I had to learn it through my life versus in a classroom. Of course, everything that is learned through life is so much greater and deeper, but you guys are learning in the classrooms and the basic skill sets and mindsets. So you're getting ahead of the game already. Doesn't mean you have to own your own business, but just going into interviews, oh my God, how amazing.
And it's neat because you talk about learning in life and not necessarily in school, and stay in school.
Yeah, stay in school. Totally.
But it's as a parent, I mean, you got to learn a ton as far as, and one of the biggest fears of entrepreneurship is the fear of failure. And a couple of your kids were athletes and are athletes. And how do you inspire to overcome that fear of failure? Because is it the name that's tied to me? Is it the expectations are too great? What if I don't do what I think I want to do? How do you, and because this is the type of coaching you give it to your kids, you give it to others, take that chance, do the best you can, and as long as you're doing what you want to do, you got to stand up and be proud of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's in our family. It was very difficult when my daughter Mackenzie was playing on the. She played on it's the International Tennis Federation, so it's the ITF World Tour, as a junior, and she started tennis very young. She was about 12. I mean, not very young, actually young, but most kids are starting at 3. She was like 12, and she took off, and people would say, "Oh, you're." Dan Marley's daughter, I'm going to beat you, and just really silliness, So it got in her head, but at the same time, I would work with her and we would meditate a lot on positivity, blessing those around us, because you do want to see other people happy. And that's the way I've raised my kids. Yes, that was a hindrance for her, I will tell you. And then we'll get into Max, which it really did get difficult. And a lot of life skills really had to take over. And it couldn't always be from me. So what I would do is actually put people in my kids' lives to mentor them as well. Because as a parent, they do listen, but it's so much bigger and better coming from someone else as well. Right. And I think part of being a great parent is recognizing that and the blessings around you and incorporate those people. And you give back those blessings in other ways. It's all reciprocated in life, but you put people in place. And Mackenzie had to overcome that, but with Max, it was really difficult because he started playing basketball at a late age. He's extremely talented. I mean, he's very gifted, very. However, it was really difficult for him, and he was not responding well to it. In fact, he was reacting to it. And his reactions were getting him into trouble, and he ended up getting hurt and had knee reconstruction. But I always kept saying, Max, that's a blessing. This is a blessing. And he'd say, no, it's not, Mom. And this is horrible. I mean, I'm struggling. And now, just the other day, we looked back and he said, you're right. It's a blessing. Because sometimes in life, you guys just don't know. You might go out for a job, or you might go out, for one of your businesses, and you get no. Look at, I don't even know the guy's name that started Starbucks. I just know the story. No, all of the time. And then he just kept going, and he finally got what he needed to get where he is and open his first store. But with Max, it was like, this was so hard because he would get kind of bullied and teased about the name. And like I said, he would react. Something really bad happened. But you have to say, wait a minute, what can I learn from this? How do I overcome the fear now of, and Max had so much fear of getting back on the court, and he'd, move his knee thinking, is it going to tear again? Everyone says you tear your ACL, it tears again. You live in fear, you're not alive, you're dead. And you have to learn to say, you know what, if you can just do your best and give your best, like me with my book, I just said, you know what, just do it. Stop listening to all of that other noise. If you have outer voices become your inner voice, that's living with fear. That's living with doubt. That's living with darkness. That is not of this greater God or greater good, whatever it is, that is what you believe in, that gives you hope. We all need something. And so do you want to live dead or do you want to live alive? I mean, I want to live alive right now because I don't know what's going on later one day. So I'm going to go for living alive. And I went for it. Max, the same thing, going back to his basketball. And I'm sorry if I'm sort of all over, but it's fascinating how he had to overcome the fear of getting back on the basketball court, landing on that leg if he would have a dunk. And now he has no fear at all, but he had to recognize the blessing first. If you come from really difficult times or your family, you've got to climb out of a deep hole to get somewhere in life. And you go, but wait a minute, I've got to come so far. You were put there because your purpose is greater. Okay, you're stronger. God does not give you, or whatever it is your, higher being. You are not put in a difficult position to stay in that difficult position. You're put there to be a light and a testimony to others. Rise up with it. It's your opportunity to be great. I love it. I just think it's a wonderful thing. And when he realized that, he had 43 points last week. He's averaging 28 points a game. He's playing better than he's ever played, jumping higher than he's ever gone. He's got like a 42-inch vertical after knee reconstruction. The mind is so powerful. The spirit is so powerful. You've got to put the two together and cast out fear, doubt, darkness. That is not what you are made of. No one's made of that.
And you have to search for, like you said, you brought outside people into his world and into your daughter's world. That mentor, that support system, and you always hear about there's people that try to knock you down, and we reference that a little bit, but there's so many people out there trying to build you up.
Amen. There really is. It's such a beautiful world when you look at it that way.
And this is what you do, where you go, and how you live your life. How does that help those that are on the fence? Do I start this? Do I take this? I mean, finding a voice like yours versus all the ones, it's going to fail for these 100 reasons. How do you tell them to ignore that? How do you tell them get past that and trust your inside, trust your good?
Well, here's what I would say, and I've been through, I've had a lot of no's in my life. I was modeling in New York City, and I've had some difficult moments in my life and some doors shut. I do believe that doors are shut at times, and I don't always say that we push them open, but I do think we analyze and we have to go inward and say, okay, hold on. And you kind of look at what you're living for. What are you serving by doing this? If I keep trying this, am I, beating a dead horse? Or is there another sort of avenue to go through? I think there's a point in time, sometimes you do have to say, okay, maybe this door is shut. However, look, when you reflect back, you go, wait a minute, hold on a second. Through this timeline, now I'm seeing something. And you look back and you see other areas where ideas are opened. And this is why you have to be very present in life. Because if you're not living very present, you don't recognize opportunities because you're so hell-bent on what you want out of life instead of what life is bringing to you. And what is it that you want out of life? Do you want this particular business? Do you want this much money? What is it that you're going for? Like I tell my daughter Madison, break it down. Because once you can start chunking things down, you start recognizing opportunities when they arise. And you're not so hell-bent and saying, wait a minute, I know this is my path. Why do I keep getting pushed back? And then instead you go, wait a minute. Okay, my path took a little bit of a turn, but I see there's an alignment here. I see that I can still fulfill something intrinsically within myself by accomplishing a career just a little bit off, maybe you took a right turn, but you start finding out where you can find that purpose. But if you're not present, you'll never figure out where the purpose lies. and where the purpose is fulfilled. And part of that being present is recognizing outward coming inward and inward going outward, mentally, physically, spiritually, and then outward coming in, it's influence. It's people saying it can't happen, it won't happen. But you do have to recognize, sometimes you do have to shut it down and veer off just a little bit. Because you don't know that door being shut could be a big blessing. Again, you don't know that. People always think closed doors mean, oh my gosh, I'm just not lucky, I'm not getting what I want out of life. Hold on, maybe there's some horrific thing that could have happened if you pushed that door open, if that door never really shut and you squeezed through. So you got to look at everything like a blessing and go, wait, hold on. Okay, let's reevaluate. Let's chunk this down. What is it that I want at life? Keep it simple and be able to sort of maneuver and be malleable to what life comes and throws at you. I know it sounds a little bit confusing because you really have to live a lot of that out, but being present is the biggest part of that.
Well, I do want to say, I recognize, and if you haven't already, the positivity, right? The positivity here it's kind of a, it's a mindset, right? You have to start thinking in a way, well, a door shot, it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. It could mean that I just need to change a little bit or look at things a different way, right? Step back and reevaluate. This is what we call in entrepreneurship pivoting. And the pivoting is a very essential process in developing your idea. It is not a prescribed process. It could happen to your original idea. You're gonna get people not interested, or they don't hear exactly what you say, doesn't click with them. Well, what can you do? What can you learn from every interaction you have with someone who maybe says no to you? Is there something that you could do different? Is there something they would like? Can you ask questions? Can you get anything positive out of the experience? Because pivoting, it's very essential. This is how you are in touch with your environment. This is how you're in touch with people. This is how you learn from others. And in essence, you don't just develop an idea for yourself, but again, you develop it for others. It needs to serve a purpose. It needs to help people. This is how you're going to make money, right? So a no early on actually can save you, if you like, more money than you could have spent, right? So it is we talk a lot about start it fast, start early, fail fast. And it could totally sound like, what, fail? No. Yeah. So start early, do a little prototype, do a conversation, try to engage with your idea, get the feedback early so that you don't spend time, money, and find out much later that maybe this wasn't going to work out, right? You need that feedback. And so that's awesome. That's the closed door that you're describing, the positivity of how you look. And there's no failure, there's just learning.
Amen. Look, I'm divorced. At first I was really ashamed when I had to file for divorce. It was something I had to do. I really felt it was important for my children and I. And at first I really felt like a failure. And I wasn't. It was a shift I had to make. My kids would not be who they are today if I did not do that. And I don't have any regrets. I knew it was the right thing. I love my ex-husband. I want to see him happy, of course, but I needed to do at the time what I needed to do to stop the cycle of negativity and things that were happening that weren't healthy for children. And I'm not a failure because of it. And some people might want to judge me that way, but you can't control over what people say about you. You're never going to be able to control anyone. And that's freedom. And when you've got freedom, you're also very alive because, you're not allowing, everybody's got something to say about somebody. You got to move on and not have a fear of failure, because then you're fearing just really, it's more about what other people think of you. And that's kind of where your fear really is coming in. It's being judged. Get rid of it.
But isn't that an expression of who they are? Honestly, our people out there who, you have to think everybody does their best, right? I do. It really makes me feel better when I think people do their best at any point. That's where they are. And it's a reflection. Judgment and criticism is truly a reflection of who they are, right? Yes. And in essence, if someone does care about you, they will try to give you constructive feedback, right? Of
course.
And that's always welcome.
I love when my friends are like, hey, T, you made this bed, you got to lay in it now. They'll tell me, okay, where do I got to grow? Where do I got to grow and where do I got to go? It's the way it goes.
And I think you talked about planning a little bit and putting it in chunks and with Madison, and I remember you breaking this down in this podcast, and it's just, you can't sit there and say, I want to start a business and I want to retire at 45. I want to be a millionaire. I want this business to be sold to the biggest tech company because I'm you got to put it in pieces.
Got to be explicit and chunk it down.
And you talked about it in your book also, where you write parts of things, you attack small steps. So if you're going down the wrong path, you've only taken 10 steps. You haven't taken 100.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you share in your unique way, and in the stories you share with your listeners, your readers, and all of that.
Yeah. Well, and that's something, if you don't mind, I'll explain. I love to talk about the 4 C's, but then I implemented the 5th because even though I don't really like chunking to be a part of it, it should be a part of really everything. But you've got to be very clear about your goals. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be courageous. You've got to be committed. And the chunking out, so at first you want to kind of like be clear on what your goals are, chunk them out. Like you were saying, I want to be retired by 45. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, I want to have, that's so vague. That's not a goal. Well, I want to have $5 million in my bank account because that would make me feel like I could live off that for the rest of my life. Okay, well, that's a great thing. Let's set that aside. Let's chunk now down. What is it you're looking for? You're looking for financial security. Okay, we got it. So how do we get financial security? Okay, well, and then you can chunk things down. Well, save my money or invest my money, because you're never really going to get financial security by saving as much as you are by investing in yourself. The stock market, I'd say go real estate before the stock market. But you really want to be wise about how much you save. And then there's so many areas in your life that you've got to be clear, okay, of what it is you want, chunk it down. Whether it's your account, whether it's your business, whether it's your relationships, and you've got to be committed to what your goals are. You've got to be clear. You've got to be committed. You've got to be courageous. You've got to be consistent. You are not going anywhere without consistency. And that is one thing I learned with writing the book and everything I've done. It's like very easy as a mother of 4 that, I just raised my kids and was taking care of my husband at the time. And we got divorced. I was a full-time mom. Really easy to kind of fall off and not be as consistent. Yeah. Took me longer to write my book than it should have because I wasn't consistent every day. I had the kids. No, I'll get back. And a month later, okay, I'm back on it. But finally, I had to get consistent with it. And once the consistency hit, and then I was committed to that consistency. If you're committed to being consistent, you're going to have success. It's a lot of work. It's all the time. And you're like, does this ever end? No, it really doesn't. It never really ends. That's the way it goes. And it's actually kind of great.
So once you're able to get that routine, and it's amazing. You weren't here when Chrissy was talking, but you guys are saying the exact same thing, is to implement a routine of things that you do, probably daily or repeatedly, right? To achieve success. I mean, success doesn't come overnight. It is a work, and it's a routine. If getting in it and working consistently towards something, which is the persistence, right, and the preparation in our 3 Ps today, right? But basically, you didn't become an author and a speaker overnight, right?
No, the author part was really a long time. But again, that was on my heart, and my priorities were my children. But I do agree with you. But the consistency is so important. But also, you have to understand who you are. It's so important to understand yourself and the way your mind works. And Brent, you and I were talking about that earlier, because everyone is different. And if you look at someone else and say, well, I want to do that, or I want to be like that person. Again, here we are you're getting really vague. You're socially comparing yourself to other people and other things. There's failure all around that in a way that's not good. It's not good failure, because social comparisons always lead to depression or feeling inadequate. And so you can't do that. You've got to know who you are and how you work and how your mind works. And part of even all of the positive psychology and everything I studied, that's like the biggest key, is understanding your mind. Am I more of a leader? Am I more of, a cheerleader? I mean, everyone is different in the game of life. And whatever role you play, it's got to be a part that you're good at. Because when you're good at something, it's fun. It's fun to be good at things.
Well, and that's the great thing about the commitment and the consistency you're talking about. if you buy into that wholeheartedly, it's no longer work. I mean, if it's that passion that we started this whole talk on, and you commit to it and you're consistent with it, for most people, and I'd say somewhere in the high 90%, it becomes fun. I mean, are there times where you're like, shoot, I'd love to be on a beach right now, or I'd like to be doing something else? Yeah, but even the hard times aren't as hard as when you're not sure where you're going, when you're half-assing it, when you're doing it for somebody else's benefit. So
because when you see the progress,
Yeah.
even the little ones, and that's the other thing too I talk about,
reward
Michael.
yourself.
That's right. Small wins. You have to chunk down your celebrations too. You can't just be celebrating big wins. You've got to celebrate small wins, because if you don't, you're never going to feel good about what you're doing. You're never going to feel like you're accomplishing. You're going to feel like, well, nothing's exciting until I get to that. That's not true. Little wins are amazing. Celebrate yourself. If you don't, your body hears that, it senses that, it starts breaking down. That's not good. Celebrate your small wins. Every little win. I don't care if it's going to the gym or going for a 5-minute walk. That's a small win. I mean, small wins are going and saying hi. It's part of being courageous. Go up to somebody and just compliment them. Hey, you know what? How are you today? You look really, I mean, be genuine about it. If you think somebody looks great, compliment them. Or I love complimenting people when I think it, and I love it, because to me, I'm celebrating them, and I love celebrating everyone else too, because then it makes me want to celebrate me a little bit too, because then I realize, okay, I'm deserving of it as well. And sometimes you're the only one that can celebrate you sometimes, because sometimes life's difficult and it's hard. And you got to celebrate you, and just little wins, little things, overcoming something tough, overcoming something that's not as tough, and go, you know what? I got through that. Today's I'm celebrating, and in all things be grateful.
That's such a great message. Yeah. I want to see if there are any questions from our students for Tina. I mean, she's amazing, right? So do you have any questions for her? Do you have questions, I guess, for anything she shared today? Love to take your questions in the few minutes that we have left.
And while those are popping up, I'm going to just kind of be my geeky self in this and say, you talk about small wins. Gabrielle and I talked about doing something like this, and I sat there and said, okay, we need to bring a speaker. You and I have talked, and we've done things, but it's like, okay, how do I go to Tina Marley and say, hey, come sit in this studio, talk to students, and because I need you to take an hour out of your day and do this. And it's not something that I do on a regular basis, reaching out to people and just say, hey, give me this. And it was like I hung up I can't remember if we talked the first time or it was via email or whatever. I'm like, I read your response. I was like, sweet, this worked.
I flew in town just for you today.
I appreciate that more than you know. But it's like, I mean, you have to, it is those small things. Yeah. If you had said no and we went somewhere else, we would have gone somewhere else. But it's like,
Brent, I would always come talk and hang out with you. You're so smart. You guys are so lucky to have him for a teacher. Are you kidding me? I want to go back to school just to take classes from both of you, actually. So I know, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but it's just, it's so true about this. And enough bad things go on in a day and everything else that win projects you into
positivity and gratitude.
And I'm going to try something else because I did well with this.
Yeah.
So I've got that confidence. I've got that swagger, courage to say, I can do something bigger. I can do something different. And it's awesome. It's
good stuff, right?
Yeah. That's the example of what entrepreneur needs to do. It's just ask, right? Just ask for what you want. So many talented people with ideas just don't go out there to ask for what they want. And this is part of the reason why we're doing the pitching. The pitching competition it's kind of the cherry on top. It's really the journey that we're taking students, because in the end, a pitch is something that you end up asking for what you want. And for us, we're giving you some cash, but there's so much more that you can ask. You can ask for help. You can ask to sit down with someone and pick their brains, right? You ask them to come.
Being courageous.
It is.
It's part of my goal setting is having courage. That's one of my C's. It's so that's what it is.
Yeah.
So here's the question: what is one piece of advice you wish you knew before starting the path of entrepreneurship?
Well, that's a great question, because I really didn't have any advice, because I wasn't an asker really for a long time. I was afraid to ask. One piece of advice I would say from my own journey and learning, you have to stay positive. I can't tell you enough how you have to stay positive and consistent, and not let anyone's voices become your inner voice, because people can convince you in or out of anything, and then you will convince yourself in or out of anything. And being an entrepreneur, to me, I think is one of the most difficult tasks, because you are you become responsible for someone else putting food on their table.
Yeah.
You have big responsibilities. So you've got to know that you're ready to take on. That's why not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. And you've got to look at yourself and go, am I ready to do this? Or do I need to take a small step? Kind of like what I was telling you, what Chrissy did, doing like more of a franchise and getting your feet wet in the business. So the advice is to just really, I would say, if you have anyone you can talk to, get a mentor if you can, because a mentor is going to give you the kind of voice that you would want to, that advice you'd give yourself. So it's sort of an outer voice that would train your inner voice versus destroy your inner voice. Does that make sense?
It does. And I want to say, I mean, I love the idea of mentors, but you got to be careful, because you have a lot of mentors out there. Some are glass half full people,
They are.
and some are glass half empty people. And they feel like, and they want to say they're doing this for the good for you. But everything kind of comes out in a, well, this bad thing might happen. And
then you know immediately that's not the right mentor.
Right, and you've got to be sure to say, the same way we talked about businesses being bad and doors closing, you got to be able to walk away from that person, even if it's
energy.
Yeah, whoever it is, there's someone of respect, of power, whatever. Don't be afraid to say, hey, this doesn't jive.
That's right.
It doesn't work.
And your mentor doesn't necessarily mean that it's someone that's accomplished the kind of business you want to. It can be anything. It's almost becomes sort of a life coach for you. But I do have a very good friend of mine. He's, multi-billionaire, self-made, private equity. And he does have a mentor he has a business mentor, and then he has sort of like a life coach mentor. And I think that's what's really helped him all of the years of his life really stay consistent in his business. I mean, it's not easy, private equity. I mean, yeah, you see a lot of people make a lot of money, but they work so hard. I mean, it's like they barely sleep, these people, and and his one mentor is world renowned at what he does, but the reason he's so successful is his mindset. So if you're reaching out for advice, you really need to make sure you've got to be aware yourself, because you've got to take some responsibility for your path and where you're going when it comes to choosing and who you're getting advice from in your life. So you've got to have discernment. And that's part of growth, and that's part of a good mindset, is having discernment and recognizing, like you're saying, when you see somebody's trying to bring you down or negative, it's different than being constructive, like you had mentioned earlier. That's so important, because being so ego-oriented is never going to get you anywhere good, because you can fall hard on your butt. Ego's good. Talk about it in my book. I think it's a great thing. It gives us that, competition we need. But recognize when you are around someone, because you will become their energy. You become like the people you are surrounding yourself with. But I think the best thing is to have someone, a support system. I really think that's the best advice for entrepreneurship. I really do. I had it. I needed it. I got the teacher I needed. I did private lessons because I couldn't get into go apply and take classes at a school. I had kids. I couldn't go certain hours. So that guy really became my mentor for my book. And then I had a good girlfriend who, she's brilliant, and I needed her as a mentor as well. And it kind of kept me accountable. And then they become sort of your accountability coach as well, in a way. And that's kind of what keeps you on that consistent road of making sure you're completing all your tasks. Because entrepreneurship, you could easily just get really lazy because you're in charge.
Yeah.
You could just fall back.
And I'm guessing you've probably with people you've dealt with and other things you've seen, a lot of people who start a process and stop, and you're like, don't stop now. You're so close to it working. And I think it's those mentors, those people, that support system that gives you the strength to take that last step, that run that last mile and get to where you've got to be to make a successful journey.
Well, it takes someone that has done the journey, right? Yeah. And they can see it in you. You probably don't see it in yourself, but they can see, oh, you've come so far and you're so close. You have no idea, right? So you need that coach, that need that mentor.
It's nice to have someone. It really is. And when you're struggling on your tough day, I mean, starting your own business is really difficult. I'm not going to say it's easy, but that's why it's such an incredible feat. And you've accomplished it. And you're like, it's so amazing. You're such a strong human for accomplishing those types of goals. Working, whatever it is, nothing's easy in life. But when you're really starting from the roots, there's so much trial and error. There's a lot of stuff that could just make you break away and just, I can't do it. That doesn't mean you can't do it. You can do it, but you need advice, you need good mentorship. And
it's that failure that's not failure. I mean, it's such a bad word, because there's so many lessons learned
in
each
though.
setback.
It's okay.
Right.
It's I like setback. I think that's a better word.
And it's like, I mean, people get concerned. I tried to open my business. It failed. This didn't work. That didn't work. Well, like Einstein said, he learned 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. You can, you're going to learn each time it doesn't work the way you want it to do. Yeah. And you can do it a little bit better. And that's what's so, I think, is what drives those true entrepreneurs, because they see the good in the bad.
Yeah, and they learn a lot through the process. Yeah. I think most people I know that have started businesses and sustained, they're pretty impressive people to be around. So they are people that you do want to seek out and you do want to have in your circle of influence, because their experiences are profound. It's kind of like when you go to get your MBA, they really, in a lot of schools, they want you to go work for a few years. Yeah. And then you apply for your MBA, and there's a reason for that. And that's why those people are so great for you to have around. Sphere of influence, it's the right thing. It's got to be people that have been there.
Which is, again, bringing it back to the pitching, which is so important. Pitching competition. Yeah, we're inviting students to the Innovation Challenge.
I see.
We have a pitching competition. We give cash prizes.
I want a cash prize. Oh, can I have a cash prize?
We just got to enroll you in one class.
Okay.
And you have to be a student. So yeah, enroll in one. But what I was trying to say is the networking part, right? You just said you want to create that social circle, right? Connections matter a lot. We're not going to sit here and tell you that that's not true. It is true.
Networking is so important.
Networking is so important, right? And the pitch helps you hone in your message to when you're telling someone about your idea and what you want to do, you've hit all the important elements for them to appreciate it, understand it, and figure out if they want to get behind it, right? Like, it's okay if somebody is not into it. That's fine. Keep talking about it. Meet more people, right? Meet more people, and hopefully you find those that want to help you be in your court and be a mentor, invest in you, be working for you, be your partner, right? So talk about it. Mm-hmm. And this is how the pitching competition, if you decide to participate, can help you to talk about your idea and how to present an idea in a way to get people to understand it and maybe get more yeses on your side, right? But get help, not be afraid to ask, because you've done your work and you know how to tell your story. You start with the story. I love that. Pitching is kind of a story. Starts with why you're doing this and why it's important to you and how you're going to help others, right? And deliver value. So take this opportunity that comes your way and come to the pitching competition. Go if you can to this Canvas course and interact with us here, and hopefully we get to see you again on the 28th, where we'll have maybe more speakers and other entrepreneurs, right, coming and talking.
You should have Madison's, my daughter's boyfriend. Madison. He owns. He created a plant-based tuna. And
Okay.
he would be great for you guys. This topic, I mean, the stress where it's difficult and you're worried. I mean, you want to hear these stories, not to scare you, to help you recognize you're not alone when or if it happens to you. You know?
But, yeah, and I want to talk real quick before we let you go about expanding your circle, because your last podcast guest, can you explain to everybody how it is he came to be a guest on your podcast? Because, I mean, it shows, I mean, at a whole next level, that this process never stops. We're always looking to reach out to people that are going to help us, better us, communicate with us, share with us, and that's what you did.
We're work in progress.
Yeah. Scott Evans Davis. You guys, I don't know if you have Instagram, but Scott Evans Davis, first of all, he's hysterical. I mean, he's so funny. And I guess he's pretty famous on TikTok more so. I don't have a TikTok, my kids do, but I want to get one just to watch him. But his Instagram came to me on a friend of mine sent it to, and then I sent some of it, and then I went through his Instagram. I got, this guy is hysterical. And finally, I wanted him on my show. I would have never believed he was a composer, a lyricist. He's a genius. He taught himself to play the piano at 12 years old. He works with autistic kids. It's called Epic Players in New York. So he's a composer. He's got an incredible musical coming out called Indigo about an autistic girl and her grandmother who has dementia. They actually cast an autistic girl. They did not want someone to play an autistic young girl. They've actually cast one. What an incredible feat for her. I mean, my gosh, to be able to step out of her shell, it gives me the goosebumps. But I reached out to him and he got back to me. And now we're becoming great friends, and we're going to do some more, some things together in the future with business and some TV things. But it's just fascinating how you put yourself out there. You don't know what can come your way. I've got something I'm working on that's, if it happens, it's very big, you know, and it's like, that's why you can't be afraid. You've got to just step out and do what it is that's on your heart. Because what I have coming up that I'm working on in January, we're filming something I can't talk about right now, but in detail, but I can just tell you that, would have never happened if I didn't put myself out there. So it's this Instagram can be, that's why so many people cut down social media, but it's actually a great positive thing for business if you put yourself out there. But and he's sarcastic. If you look at his Instagram, I mean, he says things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have never believed you are this total other guy that's like this composer. And I think that's part of being malleable and really just flowing and owning who you are. But that's part of influence is Instagram. It's your social media.
And risking the chance that someone's going to say no to you and say, why are you bothering me? You're never going to get the yes if you're not willing to take the no's.
I learned that late in life. I love asking. I don't know, that's me now. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. They say no, I don't care. It's all good.
It's their loss, not mine.
Yeah, I love asking. By the way, I love being asked. It's an honor. Yeah. And now I realize I think everybody likes it. They may not always have the time for it, but I think people feel like, wow, they feel honored. You're cherishing them. You're respecting them enough to ask either advice or whatever it may be that you're asking. So it's actually a beautiful thing. So you're so correct about the asking. It's really great that you're bringing that up with your students. I mean, I wish somebody taught me that a long time ago, but it's getting reinforced today, so it's all good.
So we have a message here with thank you, Tina, so much for coming in and sharing your story with our students and future business leaders. And I can see who this is. Rochelle Hall is our department chair.
Oh, I don't know. Hi. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to see you and a pleasure to meet you and actually hear how you guys are implementing the role of being an entrepreneur. I'm going to learn more. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'll let you unpack now that you're home, at least for a little bit.
Well, for 2 days.
For 2 days. And
I have a book signing this week back in LA again, so it's good.
Oh, well, I brought mine for you to sign it. So,
so
we will. Oh yeah, let me get it real quick.
Oh, I have some in I'll give you one. I have one in my cart too.
Yeah, so you can check out Tina's book, right?
Yeah, Soul of a Woman. There's actually another Soul of a Woman out there, and I'm sure it's fabulous, but by mine, it's Tina Marley. It's pink and black. It's a great, pretty cover.
Yeah.
Here we go. Soul of a Woman. And you're going to like some of my endorsements on the back if you like boxing. I've got Mike Tyson and his wife, Kiki. And I have a very big entrepreneur who, by the way, you guys should check him out, John Paul DeJoria. So he started Patron Tequila. Actually, first he started Paul Mitchell Hair. You guys are kind of young, but yes. Paul Mitchell Hair. This man's story is incredible. He's one of the most, he's a mentor to me, and his wife is as well. They're incredible. They're in my sphere. I love them. So she endorsed the back of my book as well, and a few others. But one thing I have to say about him, I believe he has a documentary out, and I really think all of you guys should watch it because he was homeless. He was a homeless guy. And another man that I met, Shep, I think it's Shep, I don't know his last name. I think it's Gordon. He's a producer, I believe, music producer of some sort or something. Anyway, I met him in Hawaii at a dinner. And I didn't know the two of them knew each other. But this guy used to own a bar, and he would let JP go in and take showers and get cleaned up. So he'd go throughout his day and try to get work. This man ended up becoming, what's he worth today? $5-6 billion. Anything is possible. Starts here. It's here. And I think everyone's capable of anything. And I think sometimes God makes it a little bit harder to climb like it was for him, but what a beautiful story he has. And he's an inspiration for others. And that's what you guys can all be too. So own everything in your life and love all of it and just make the best of it.
Yay.
And get the book.
Thank you. Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you. So we will,
So I'll just say what's next, right?
Do you get up or do I stay?
we can let you get up.
Oh, no, you have to stay here.
Sorry, I'm wearing my little ripped up jeans and my sneakers, but I'm very casual.
Watch out for them.
Okay, take care.
Right. So just a quick note, we had our 3 guest speakers today, right? You heard from Ross Snyder, the owner of the studio, right, that we're filming today. And what an amazing story. And Chrissy May, who is now opening her second store, right, for her franchise. Again, had many ventures, many ideas that she pursued. And of course, now you just met Tina Marley. If you are here just for this hour, she's an entrepreneur, author, speaker. You heard her journey in writing her book. It took a long time, but she persisted. She found a purpose. She was, very convinced that that's what she wanted to do. She believed in herself and she worked hard. She had a routine, even though it took longer, but that's okay. So some setbacks happened. It took longer, but the important thing is that she finished, right? She achieved her goal, learned so much in the process, and is now a speaker and author, and you can hear from her little stories and what she shares how many other opportunities are opening up, right? So she achieved her goal, but now there's probably filming, and then there's shows, and there's podcasts, and there's things are opening up more and more, right? Because she took that time and energy and persisted in her goal. So that could absolutely be any one of us entrepreneurs, something that everyone can learn. It's a process, right? So I wanted to see, thank you, Heather, super interesting, thank you so much. I wanted to see, for the last hour, we're already 15 minutes into the last hour. We're here for you. Brent is gonna come back soon. We want to interact with you. We want to hear your ideas. We want to talk to you about your ideas. We can do a little bit of interactive kind of forum and conversation, and see what ideas, what is going through your mind, right? What are some questions you want to ask? What are some answers you're seeking? It could be about entrepreneurship, life, your idea. Maybe you're stuck. Maybe you just ask a question. You're dying to ask a question. Love to hear from you. So literally we're staying here, and we can take this time. We have the rest of 40 minutes here. We can take this time to talk to you about anything important to you that you want to share about an idea you have, any questions that you didn't ask our speakers, and maybe we can take that and then basically have a conversation and take the opportunity, right, while we're all here, to to talk about anything you find important, interesting, or you want to ask. So type in the chat, and I'm happy to. We'll wait for Brent to come back, but yeah, take the time to ask any questions you want. I have a question for you. What ideas do you have? What business ideas do you have? Do you have an idea? How many people have an idea that would like to develop or pursue sooner or later in life? Just say yes if you have an idea.
Yes.
I'm a creative of natural organic skin products. Wonderful. So, Bridget, have you created at least one product? Or are you working on making a recipe for the product? Have you? Where are you? What stage are you in? We'll wait a little bit while she's typing, and come on, share more about ideas you have, or question, or just say, yes, I have an idea. I'm working on an idea. I'm thinking about an idea. I already have created the skin lotion, and it is amazing. Well, that is wonderful. I really hope that you come to the Innovation Challenge. And again, I'm going to show this again. All students can apply. I really hope you come to the Innovation Challenge, or at least contact us, our mentors here. And we have more opportunities for students who have already a product and are willing to develop it and start selling. We're just actually finalizing this week a grant. We're giving a grant. It's called Everyday Entrepreneur Venture Fund. So students who have started a business and want to develop their business apply for this fund, and we'll have one more round in the spring. So as the Innovation Challenge is going, we're probably going to have this grant coming as well to help you start selling, or help you market, advertise, buy ingredients, or whatever you need, right? Because you already have a product, right? So please, Bridget, I see you there. Yes, I hope you contact us, and I hope you go to enroll in the Innovation Challenge Canvas course, because definitely would love to help you. Yes, I will be attending. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, what is your advice on deciding between two ideas to pick one? So, well, I obviously don't know your ideas, or I could try to give you my opinion, but most importantly is I guess what is which one of the idea gives you more joy, or which one do you feel like if you're winning this, or if you're focusing on this one and things work out, will you be more happy, or enjoy more of your time working on it, right? Is there such a thing, right? I don't know if they're equal. It's always, they seem like they were equal, but probably one is that tags you a little more, right? The other thing is that, okay, well, can you test both of them? Can you spend a little time and actually take the next step in these two ideas? Maybe that next step is creating some prototype, or talking to potential people. I don't know if it's a service or a product. Maybe talking to friends, maybe putting out on social media, showing kind of what you're wanting to do, and show people how you're different and better. This is something we're working and helping students to the Innovation Challenges. Okay, great, you have this idea. How are you solving your customer's problem? What problem are you solving for them? And how is your solution different and better, right? That's called value proposition, right? Why should they buy your product? Why should they come to you for your service, right? So take that, if you like, next step and develop both ideas, and then see the response you get, see the feedback you get, if you can test that, right? And maybe just let kind of the market decide, right? Which one seems to bring you more success, right? Which one seems to be, I guess, the one you should bet on at this time. So I don't know if that helps, but without knowing the idea, that's what I would do, right? I would kind of try both of them a little bit to develop them a little more, right? For the business, would there have to be products that are developed or not? No. So when we're talking about the innovation challenge, it is just an idea. I know students can't believe it. It's really just an idea. Obviously, what we're helping you from the idea is we're helping you think through the most important elements that you will have to go through, develop this idea into a business. So we're going to help you look into potential customers. We're going to, ask you to do maybe a little research into who else is solving the same problem and how are you different and better than existing solutions, right? So that is how you develop an idea. You're moving forward and try to develop that idea into something that offers value to people, and in a unique way, because as you heard today from our speakers, even your idea is not new. The way you execute it, the way you implement it could be unique to you. And obviously you have a lot of opportunity with social media and being a small business to create relationships and to present your idea, present yourself and bring value through customer service and in so many other ways, right? So don't be intimidated by the fact that other people have already kind of done what you're doing, right? You can be unique, you can do it in a different way. So no, you don't have to have a product developed. Come with an idea and we'll help you develop the idea. All right, so I asked for questions. I opened the floor. Definitely love some questions and love some more questions if you guys have. That's why we're here. We're here for you, right? We're here to kind of unpack what you learned today. So what did you like today? I mean, if you heard Tina, right? Tell us what you like. If you were here for the previous session with Chrissy and Ross, tell us what you learned today. What was something that you kind of stuck with you, right?
And would you like to see more of events like this? Do you think it was helpful? I just wondered what it would be like waiting for the chat to populate and see. But I real quick, just while you guys are typing and thinking, because I know y'all are typing furiously right now, I want to thank you, Gabriella, for putting this program together, because I think it is such a unique and powerful opportunity for not only students, but for the school to support students in making that risk a little less risky. And I think that's our big goal, is to say, if you've got an idea, if you've got that passion, we want to help foster it. We want to give you small steps that are going to make that big leap not as big, not as scary. And it can be things from helping you connect with the right people, fine-tuning your pitch, your plan, asking you questions you may not have thought of. And it's important for us to work with you and give you what you're looking for. And I'm going to ask real quick, Alan, can you escape the participants so the chat gets a little bigger?
So Julian says, yes, to be able to listen to people that already went through the experience and the struggle and to listen to their advice is really empowering. Yeah, so again, we couldn't stress this enough. Find mentors, find people that did what you want to do. And sometimes you may think that they're competitors. Sometimes you may be thinking, oh, they're so accomplished. They're really not gonna answer me. They're not gonna, tell me. Don't think that.
Thank you.
Again, some people might say, no, I don't want, or I don't have time, but keep going, because there are many successful people, and, they love to share how they got there. They want to help other people. They know how it is, to be in your shoes. So don't be afraid to ask. If there's anything that you take away from today, don't be afraid to ask. And obviously, don't be afraid to come and talk to us. We're open. This is why we're here. We'd like to help you with your idea, right? Develop your idea. So Bridget says again, I learned to keep a positive attitude about the business and at the same time, take good care of myself and stay consistent.
Yeah. And the
Exactly.
comment above is, this is going to be the third innovation challenge, and we had our winner last year was, if I remember correctly, he was the 360-degree photography model for the real estate company.
So Martel, no, it will be our third innovation challenge, and the best to see all the previous winners, go to gccaz.edu/innovation-challenge. If you go to the Canvas course, you're going to see the pitch videos of the winners and the contestants. So you are going to see who won. So far we have 2 winners. And so we're going to go, in February 2022, we're going to have a 3rd winner, right? So it's a 3rd time we're doing this. So yes, you'll see their videos, you'll see who they are, you'll see the type of business ideas students developed during the pitching competition, and you get to see their pitch, right? The winning pitch.
And to that, we do have 2 winners from the 2 years, but we have six people that we've given money to.
Right, they're all winners.
Yeah,
winners. Yes.
To build their business, to launch your business, to get one step closer. So
you're going to see some testimonials, right, from last year's finalists, right? So we have like 4 finalists that took the time to talk to me about their feedback. Watch their videos. They're students like you, right? So they went through this experience, and this is what they have to say. So don't take it from us, but listen to their story and the advice.
Yeah, and we are going to, they're going to touch up this recording a little bit, but it will become available on the Innovation Challenge Canvas page. You'll have a link to this.
So, Martel, if you have a phone right now, you can put your camera and it will take you to that Canvas course. I don't know how we can, I guess, keep the chat somehow.
Yeah,
right?
No, we'll save all the chat.
Yeah, we'll save the chat, and I will try to write down your email address. But I think if you are able to go to your camera and to the QR code, it takes you straight to the enrollment link for this Canvas course. And if that's not something you can do right now, just remember to go to gccaz.edu. Okay, /innovation-challenge, right? Innovation-challenge.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm watching the event on my phone, so I can't scan. Okay, got it.
We'll get you the information.
Yeah. We'll get you there, Martel. Thank you.
Yeah. And any other?
How long after the January 31st deadline will a person typically be notified that they are selected? Also, if you are not selected, are you notified too or not? We're trying to get the word out to the finalists, I would say, within the first week. So you will know by February 7th or 10th, okay? We hope sooner, but we are dependent on kind of judging, scoring all the pitch videos. So I wanted to say by January 7th, you should find out. And yes, I definitely let everybody know that didn't make it into the final, that, thank them for participating, give them feedback. So you will get feedback. Some of the judges actually give feedback to the students when they score their video. So you'll get some feedback, and you can always ask me or ask us for feedback, even if you're not selected to move on to the final. Great question. Yeah, great question. Thank you, Sophia.
Okay.
All right, well.
Well, thank you all for staying on, suffering through our little power shortage for a couple of moments, and live TV as it happens. We are very grateful to all the students that were here. Hopefully, like I said, that this was beneficial to you all and you learned something and got something from it. And I'd love to see as many of you sign up for the Innovation Challenge as possible, so that we can work towards giving you that step up, that hand up. So
Right. So remember, even if you can't make it for January 28th, you can engage with the mentors. You can engage with me. We will have at least 2 more other mentors that you can engage with about your idea, and we'll make time to talk to you one-on-one via Zoom, whatever works. So don't worry if you can't make it to January 28th, right? If you're interested and you are motivated and you want to go through this process, we will help you. We'll make time to talk to you and help you out.
yes.
So thank you so much for all of you that joined us today. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you for your interest. And we really hope to hear from you and see you on the Innovation Challenge Canvas course, and interact with you in our next workshop, or via email or Zoom, or however we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.